Okay, everybody, welcome to Yin Yoga. Good night. This is a great 30-minute practice to do right before you go to sleep. You can do it really whenever you want, but the intention behind this is to, just kind of slow things down at the end of our day and to just prepare our body and our nervous system for really a good night, refreshing sleep so that you wake up the next morning just ready to go, ready to take on the world. So this is about just relaxing, really. So we're going to start off in child's pose. And as you come into child's pose, you can always put a block underneath the forehead. You could use a bolster, put that underneath the chest to make it a little bit more of a restorative kind of a feel. And each one of these poses that we do we'll be holding for approximately 2 minutes or so. And I always like to start off these more yin practices with, just giving yourself permission to slow down, and also just permission to just indulge. Some of us may feel like we always have to do things and take care of business. Otherwise, we're going to fall behind in life. We're going to fall behind the competition. But what's interesting is that when we take time out of our day to slow things down, we ultimately become much more productive and much more efficient. There's less mistakes that we make. There's less accidents that happen. So you take time to slow down, and then you actually become way ahead of most of the competition. Not to mention the importance of what this does for your overall health and well-being. I'm sure most of you work very hard within your life. You have a lot of demands and a lot of responsibilities, so just let yourself enjoy this little bit of time that's just solely devoted to you. And last few breaths here. Good. From here, we'll just start to ease all the way back up. And then we'll come into tabletop pose, all fours position. Just set your shoulders right above the wrist. Set the knees right beneath the hips. And then we'll do some cat and cows just to melt the tension out of the spine away. Inhale, heart forward, belly drops. And exhale. Just round as slowly as you can. Inhale, taking all the time that you can. And exhale, rounding in. Try several more of those just in your own rhythm, your own tempo, maybe even doing it with your eyes closed. Especially within a yin practice in the evening time. Just allowing that attention to really turn inward. Good. From here, just come back to a neutral spine, neutral tabletop pose. And then slide the knees back. And then just come all the way down onto your belly, right onto the ground, just releasing the tops of the feet. And then we'll come into a Sphinx pose. So slide the elbows forward. Make sure your elbows are right underneath the shoulders. The forearms parallel to each other. The toes extending back. And then pull the skin of your forearms back and allow your heart to slip forward through the shoulders. Allow the chin to slightly dip down. And then again, feel free to close the eyes. Just coming into a nice, easy yin backward bend. And from here, you can stay right here in Sphinx pose. If you want to come into a deeper variation, you can come into what we call seal pose. Open the fingers slightly out, press the hands down into the mat. And if that doesn't feel good, just stay in Sphinx pose. Otherwise, now in seal, just taking a last 45 seconds or so. And one last inhale here. And exhale, release down. Slide the hands back by the ribs. And then nice and easily, just press up to table. Coming onto the knees. And then crawl your knees forward. All the way to the front, the top of your yoga mat. Cross your feet behind you. Release down onto the sit bones. And then the next one will be bound angle. So soles of the feet together. Grab onto the feet. Pull the feet in towards the body. Grab the feet. Roll the outer hips down. Take an inhale. Lift the heart up. And then fold on the exhale to your own degree. Just coming into the inner thighs and the groin. And nice and easily go ahead and come all the way back up. Hands to the outer knees. Close the knees up. Open the feet out about the width of the hips. Bring the hands behind you a good foot. Fingers face forward. And then just let the knees just sway gently side to side. This is a great way to just open up the ankles, the knees, the hips, the lower back, the chest, the shoulders, the wrists, the forearms. And both knees back up to neutral. Crawl the hands back in. And then we'll set up for seated straddle. Open your legs out. And then from here, we'll just start to crawl the hands forward. You can also reach the hands out, grab onto the feet, and just see if you can come down to your own degree until you feel just that boundary, that wall of tension. And then just let yourself just gently lean into it. So you don't want to overly be forceful or aggressive. In these yin practices, it's really the opposite. It's just about letting go and surrendering to gravity, yielding to breath, just letting time do its thing. And then over time, those connective tissues and those fascia start to expand. They start to loosen. Some of the more deeper, stubborn tension starts to fade away. But it just takes time. And so you just try and get out of the way of yourself and shift away from this mentality of doing. And just find that mentality of just simply being and allowing. Nice, you guys. Go ahead and start to exit all the way back up to seated. And then just bring your hands to outer legs. And then bring the legs back together side by side. Flex the feet. And this time, both arms reach all the way up into the air. Inhale, get that lift. And then go ahead and fold over down on the exhale. Coming into a seated forward bend. And taking a couple minutes here. Each inhale, lengthening the spine out. And each exhale, just letting that chest dip down. Go ahead and start to come all the way back up. And for a moment, just bring the hands next to the hips, fingers face forward, what we call Dandasana, staff pose. Press down to the hands. Let the spine be tall and vertical, just letting your spine neutralize to what it just did. Good. Go ahead and bend the knees, feet flat on the floor. And then go ahead and release all the way down onto the back. And we'll set up for supported bridge. So if you have a block or a bolster, you can use that. If not, you can use really thick books, a blanket, or you could just do a normal bridge. So you have a lot of options. So if you have the props, you're just going to slide that underneath your sacrum, right there at the lower back. And then if you don't have props, then you're just going to lift up into a normal bridge. And then find a hand variation that feels right for you. And then as you get set, just coming into a couple minutes here. And just continuing to let the intelligence of the yin just fulfill what it knows how to do. Again, just getting out of the way of yourself and just breathing, releasing, and practicing the art of surrender, the art of letting go physically, and also letting go subtly, mentally, emotionally, and just being in that state where you just keep clearing the sky of your awareness. And last couple breaths here. And if you have a prop underneath you, go ahead, lift the hips up and remove that off to the side. Release all the way down onto the back. Good. Grab your shins, squeeze your knees back into the belly, and then we'll bring the right ankle right on top of that. Left knee, left thigh. So thread the needle pigeon. And you have the option of extending right arm through the legs. Both hands grab onto the left shin or left hamstring. Flex the feet. And just start to pull your left thigh in towards your chest as you roll the outer right hip forward. And just give that right hip a nice, easy touch. Now just give that left thigh one last little squeeze in towards your belly. And then go ahead and unthread your right arm. And we're going to cross the right leg right over top that left leg. Extend the right arm out towards the right. And then just let the knees come across over to the left into a wrap leg spinal twist. Releasing that lower back and that lower spine. And then from here, go ahead and bring both knees all the way back up to middle. Uncross the legs, grab the shins, and squeeze the knees, the thighs back into the belly. And then we'll set the left ankle right on top of that right knee, right thigh. Thread the needle on the other side. So if you want, you can go ahead and slip that left hand through the legs. And then flex the feet, especially your left foot. And then just start drawing that right thigh in as you roll that outer left hip forward. And go ahead and give that left hip the same thing you just gave the right hip. Just ample opportunity and time to release within the largest joint in our body, that hip. And go ahead and give that one last little squeeze in. And then just unthread the left arm and wrap the left leg right on top of the right leg. And then let those knees fall all the way over to the right. Coming into that twist now. On the other side. And then go ahead and bring your knees all the way back up to middle. Unwrap the legs. And then squeeze your knees back into the chest one last time. And then Shavasana, corpse pose. Just go ahead and release all the way down onto the back. And just finding comfort. And just finding stillness. And just letting yourself drop in for this last minute or two. At the end of this yin good night practice. And everybody from here, just start to bring movement into the body, just lightly moving the fingertips and the toes around, just reconnecting back to physical presence and physical sensation. And then grab the shins, squeeze the knees and the thighs back into the belly. And then roll over onto your right side for a few breaths there. And then go ahead and press yourself all the way up. Last final cross-legged seated position where we will seal this practice. So both hands up to prayer in front of the heart. And just taking these last few moments to just give gratitude to the practice for promoting a nice, good, deep night's sleep. Much health, stay connected, and see you on the mat. Namaste.